force mount. Ow! You wanted the Gen 5 remakes? I'm gonna be honest with you, Jonah. My opinion the entire time was I don't want a Gen 5 remake. You know why, though? Not because I don't like Gen 5. It's because I don't want them to do it without them doing both Black and White and Black 2, White 2. It's the only game, because I don't consider Sun, Moon, and Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon to be continuations. Sun and Moon was like 3/4 of the, or half the story that Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon does, and some more, right? If they're gonna do Gen 5 remake, I want them to do the entire story from Black and White to Black 2, White 2. I don't want a Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl. That was extremely disappointing. For me. I'm a huge fan of the Legends games. I'm really excited for Legends Pizza. But I just want them to give Gen 5 what it deserves because it's the only game with a continuation in it, right? And I think they did an incredible job with that. Gen 5 was easy? Maybe I was playing it wrong. I mean, Black, White, yes, wasn't too bad. Black 2, White 2 had its moments, I would personally say. Shadow Bone. Huh. I'm gonna take that over. The year is 2022, right? The year is 2022. We have the Switch. They say, let's take what we know about everybody loving Gen 4 and let's just plaster Diamond and Pearl on top of Link's Awakening remake thing, which was pretty. I loved it. But they kept the exact same thing, didn't add Distortion World, didn't add anything, but the underground was cool, right? But that's all they did. Everything else, the GTS is still not come out. Is it out? Has it even come out yet? What a disappointment. That's why. I didn't want that same experience for Black, White, Black 2, White 2. There's so much about Gen 4 that we're not going to see because they didn't, like, it's like Magma and Aqua, we still got a Rayquaza story. We still got what happened in Oraz. Like, Oraz was fine, right? They added the Horde mechanic, which was neat. Like, the Horde fights and stuff like that. Nothing too wrong with that. They tried, and I liked it, right? They developed Shelly a little bit more. They developed Maxie a little bit more. Like, they did a couple of good things with that. It's just Gen 4, like, they built the Underground. That's awesome. The game is incomplete. Had all of its bugs still from Gen 4. It's just... It annoys me. I don't want to be... I am the guy who calls out other Pokemon players for shitting on the thing that they love so much, or being complainers about literally having the perfect game when the games have been good. But Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, I just let those people rave, because I'm like, they're right. You know? I can recognize that Gen 9 definitely has its flaws, but I still think it's one of their best games that they've made. They just painted it full of shit graphically. They just think it's just buggy and isn't running as good as it should be 26 years into the franchise, you know what I mean? I still think it's one of their best designed games. They just needed to actually put effort into making sure the game ran properly. Legends Arceus, huge, amazing, awesome, love it. Gen 8, loved it. Gen 9, look past the graphics, great game. Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl was... It was... And for the record, I do make fun of people who like Gen 4. That's just a cutesy thing we do on the channel. I don't actually care. I just don't think Gen 4 is my favorite. There are a lot of things I had problems with in Gen 4. Except Cynthia. Cynthia was actually, like, one of the best boss fights we've ever had. One of the best champion fights that ever designed. But Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl is just, like, it's straight trash. You didn't play Gen 9? I would actually say Scarlet Violet's worth your time. they've done a good enough job with. If you can look past the tree physics and the graphics, people joke about the tree physics. If you can look past the graphical stuff, the game is actually amazing. Your companions that are rivals, like Nemona's one of the best partner rivals we've had in a very long time, in my opinion. Arvin's story actually gets kind of interesting. Penny is sort of, you know, it's tropey, but it works. Like Gen 9 shows a lot of promise, it just didn't show a lot of cleanliness, that's all. Who am I fighting this? Oh, I gotta put Flying Gem on. What do I think about EXP share always on? I don't care. Honestly, I don't know why people care so much about it. Simply because, like, it just saves me time grinding, and I like that. I do like having control. Gen 6 and 7, one of the coolest things about running nuzlocks with level limits is actually finding that balance between... I focus banned? When did that happen? Finding the balance between... like, using EXP share to save you time and not. But it doesn't bother me that it's on. They could have easily... yeah, it's one of those... they should have left it like Gen 6 and 7, but I don't think it's as big of a deal as other people think it is. I don't think it's that bad, right? Yes, it makes you heavily overpowered because they kept the same sort of, will give you enough fights to keep you up with EXP share on. So if you wanted to make yourself have a harder time, but when you think about it, difficulty in Pokemon, if the difficulty in Pokemon is based on levels, then is that the difficulty you really want? Do you just want to spend more time fighting hundreds of wild encounters? That's why I don't personally care. For nuzlocking, when we do our Gen 8 and 9 nuzlocks with EXP share always on, you have access to the box all the time. You just put them back in the box if you don't want them to overlevel, and that's just for a challenge run purpose. For a casual purpose, if you want to make them tough, you make them actually have real movesets. Not Jita and Leon were... like Leon actually had legitimately threatening movesets. To an extent. They could have made him a little bit harder, but they did make him kind of strong. But, like, then you give us Jita, where she plays her entire team wrong. You're like, well, what the hell is this? Right? Pokemon should be hard because the teams that they have and the combos that they use should be difficult. But Pokemon's not that complex of a game, and it's a game for kids. I mean, I think Cynthia all around was good. Cynthia post-game in Gen 5 obviously is going to be a little bit different, right? But I think overall Cynthia, like, hit the right marks in terms of a champion. Steven would be kind of up there, but, like, Lance in Gen 2 was sort of the start of them making it sort of difficult, but Ngetsus, Cynthia, they've had a couple of good champions. Leon was a pretty fun time. I will say this. If it gets to the point where you have to build Pokemon like Insurgents or like Reborn, then you know that you're really forcing things like that, right? Which one? It depends. Do you like Yabba Dabba Doo, or do you like the... like, if I'm playing an open world exploration game, cool. If I'm going out and catching, then they do it like Legends Arceus, that's perfectly fine. Because Legends Arceus, in my opinion, had an extraordinary amount of, like, different areas with all the cool things, like the floating Gyarados and the different caves with, like, the different Pokemon species coexisting. Like Gen 8 and Gen 9 both did that. That's super awesome, and that's as far as it needs to go for Pokemon. Just like how Breath of the Wild had a lot of shoutouts, and also the world in Breath of the Wild and a lot of Easter eggs that they have definitely matter for them to shove that all into that more developed world. If I go to my Arboretum near my house, I'm not going in there expecting to see Pokemon or see animals and birds and everything all over the place and all these bugs and interacting. It's just open trees. It's what it is, right? So, I get real life and video games should not exist. You have to make concessions, but that's just the way I see it. People aren't playing Pokemon till they want to see the very quick. They want to see the very quick references and Easter eggs. I am not afraid to call out Pokemon fans. We are a community that has some very... We don't have people that look on both ends. They like to sit on one side, right? And the only reason why I call out the Pokemon community is because I care about the Pokemon community, and I want us to be better. We're not. We will gobble up all the crap that they build us and just not get, and will not stand up for ourselves. We buy it, right? But that's also because, well, for me, it's a job. For a lot of people, it's just they just want to play Pokemon. They don't care if it's going to be getting better. And some people just still legitimately enjoy the game, right? Sales keep going up year after year. People aren't done with the crap that Game Freak's shitting out, but all the while, I think Gen 9. I don't know if Gen 9's made them learn anything. We'll see from Legends Pizza, because that is a Game Freak game. That's not Game Freak ILCA, if I remember Legends Arceus being. Like, that's exclusively Game Freak. So if Game Freak messes up this Pokemon ZA, there's gonna be hell, because that's a franchise that people, including myself, hope it lives forever. Because I love the Legends series. They killed off Mystery Dungeon, they killed off Conquest, they killed off a lot of great games that people really liked in the Pokemon franchise. If they start ruining Legends 2 games in, considering how it looked from Gen 9, they're gonna be in trouble. I would argue they would be in trouble. They should be in trouble. Because they're getting away with too much shit that they shouldn't be getting away with. You have your head on straight. Pokemon fans want this game to be the equivalent to Xenoblade 3, or GTA 6, or make it look like fucking The Witcher. It's Pokemon. It's never gonna look like Tears of the Kingdom. It's never gonna look that way. It's just not. We just want a game that works. We just want a game that doesn't have bugs and unfixed bugs for years. That's the big thing, right? That's all. Because I think people conflate the complaints about Pokemon with what about Pokemon? The gameplay is fine. It's the game itself plays like shit. That's what we want fixed. At least that's what I think people want fixed. I want the game to it's okay if it has bugs on release and you find a bug here or there, but the game really, like, Gen 9 did not play that great. Had a lot of silly things in it that they still haven't fixed. I think it's the fact they were trying to fix it and there's just much to fix. That's the scary part. It's definitely released, and then on top of that, them doing the whole slow release of things to get people to play, to keep inflating their numbers and saying, look, people are still playing our game, and we will do it because we want to. But I'm sitting there going, like, the friggin' Kitakami DLC, they could have just waited to release that with the other half. Truly. It was such a waste of time. It's like an hour, 2 hours. The epilogue, too, could have been, like... It's annoying. And you know, and you can see it. I don't care if it's a strategy to keep their numbers up. It's that kind of stuff that makes me worried that, like, I'm gonna pay for an $80 to $100 game, and I'm gonna get not $80 to $100. I'm not gonna get an $80 to $100 game, and that's not talking about the quality of the game. It's really talking about the completeness, the completion of the actual game. So. My complaint solely rests within the actual cleanliness of the game. I think the gameplay has been spectacular. Yeah, like, if people want hard games, Pokemon's not hard. You overlevel, it doesn't matter. Nothing stops you from overleveling. They give you all the tools in the world to make your team OP. Who cares, right? Like, if you care about that, you're playing the wrong game. If you play Pokemon because you like Pokemon, not because you're looking for a hard Pokemon game. Right? It'd be nice to have one, but if you're literally, if you're saying, like, everyone's not like Cynthia, that's not gonna happen. That's unrealistic. It's just not gonna happen. Even when they said that, what was it, Gen 8 was it Gen 8 or Legends Arceus was for the hardcore Pokemon players? It wasn't. It had some challenging bits, I guess, but until you change the actual formula of Pokemon, the game's not gonna be hard. Overlevel, have coverage, GG. That's why randomizers and Kaizo runs and Ironmon runs and all these other runs are difficult. Because it forces you to play in a very particular style. But Nintendo doesn't need a wake-up call. I think it's if you really want changes in the Pokemon games, or if you want changes just overall with their way of doing business. I'm not an expert on it, but if you want a wake-up call on Game Freak and Nintendo, it's gotta be the fans. Because they'll buy merch. For God's sake, they released a Build-A-Bidoof at a Build-A-Bear, and people... Like, holy shit, man. I'm really glad I never got into buying merch or a bunch of novelty stuff for franchises that I love. I would be so fucking broke more than I already am from buying everything Pokemon. It's wild. But people buy it. They could release a broken Mr. Mime keychain and people be like, oh, but the Mime keychain, that's going to sell for something later. Like, that's what the Pokemon community is. As much as we want to think of ourselves as... we want to stand above the rest, I don't think we will. That side of the community, until they decide they stop liking everything that's happening, they're gonna succeed forever. And that's fine, they're having fun, so, you know, we can't speak for them as much as they won't speak for us. If Pokemon goes back to the challenge mode in Gen 5, I think that'd be really cool. They have a lot of cool ideas, they just need to actually continue to put them in. Until they change, I will always say that Game Freak in particular is the blue balling champion of the world. They will give you 70% of what you want. The other 30 would actually complete the game and make it goated. I don't say the word goated. They would actually have spectacular games beyond all imagination, 10 out of 10 masterpieces like Legends Arceus, if they just go that one step further. But they didn't do it. They don't do it because they were having that one game a year shit. And that's stupid. Terrible for the devs, and just shows that they know we'll buy it. Right? Not even hiding it. That's how it goes. Don't get me wrong, I love Pokemon to bits. Don't necessarily like the people running it. I truly would like to see, one day, a company other than Game Freak make a Pokemon game and see what they do with it. And no, it's not Pal World. Pal World is not Pokemon. Don't give me that shit. It's not true. I played Pal World. It's not Pokemon. At all. They have monsters in it. Ooh.